and also from the business sectors. So I think, first of all, when we start this eclectic panel, which is a mix of policymakers from government and from solution providers from tech companies, first of all, let me begin with a big round of applause, and I'm asking you to really applaud the brainstorming of the director of Government Connect and area funding and his brilliant team for getting us all together. And what a place to get us all together to think about what are the problems that we as governments face in different parts of the country, and how is it that technology and particularly artificial intelligence can do that, that slugging of these essential problems that we have been facing, that we have been tackling over the years. So, well, yes, the session for this panel is definitely, how AI is rewriting the entire landscape of governance in the country. Now, essentially, as AI writes the code for humanity in this century, we must agree to one point. Leadership in tech is no longer going to be who spends the most in AI. It is definitely going to be about who innovates smarter, who scales faster, and who also democratizes AI to all the citizens, to all our stakeholders, leaving no one behind. And I think this is the first panel is going to deliberate today and set the tone after all the presentations that you've heard, and also the essential in the inauguration panel, what we heard from all the senior ministers, from senior bureaucrats, as to where are we heading to in this entire race that AI has taken over. I would like to take the cue from what Subodh sir had pointed out, that the change is inevitable, and how we adapt to change is going to make or break as to what kind of governance we provide for our citizens. We have definitely moved beyond that foundational pillar of the vision of digital India and to the aspirational vision of Viksit Bharat. Viksit Bharat, ladies and gentlemen, what is it? We are aspiring and we are working together to move our country from where we are at a $4 trillion economy to a $30 trillion economy by the year 2047, and also raise per capita income from $2,800 to $18,000. See, that is leapfrogging into a quality of life which is assured in the developed countries where we travel for meetings, for holidays, Europe, Americas, and so on. So if this be the scenario, if this is the trajectory of the journey that we as public service, as public policy makers, we as business sector, we have to move towards, it requires a whole deal of collaboration between business, between governance, and this is where AI provides the biggest instrument of catalysis, the biggest instrument of change, particularly in completely redrafting the entire landscape of governance across all sectors. So beginning with what do we have as a country? So India's governance landscape is very complex, as we all know, because it is marked with diversity, it is marked with developmental outcomes, different development outcomes across the country, whether it's in the northeastern states, in the western states, in the northern states, in the southern states. You will find multiple Indias in this landscape. So when we travel from one state to the other, we marvel at the difference in the quality of outcomes that we see as policymakers. But this also provides us a very unique opportunity, because India is one of the largest and richest public data ecosystems in the world, spanning multiple sectors, whether it's health, it's education, it's agriculture, it's nutrition, it's urban infrastructure, it's environment, and so on. So this actually AI in governance, it's not just this becomes the ground for greater and greater and more beneficial application of AI in all sectors of governance, as we will rightly hear from our policy makers who are across different sectors, who have the wisdom of also working across different sectors over their entire career spanning 20, 30, whatever years. So let me begin with inviting our first speaker, Ms. Rolee Agarwal. She is Chief Commissioner Income Tax in Government of India, and for her, what I would like to kind of, probe, ma'am, is basically, you are the sector which actually touches the lives of all citizens in India. Who are the taxpayers? Basically us. You touch all our lives. And also we notice that, we are a country with a massive digital divide. So with the entire automation and technology being incorporated in the income tax in the department, maybe 10 years down the line, and now with greater integration of AI, how do you see that we as a country, where the income tax base is rather low, are also going to touch upon the other than the 38% of the people who are digitally literate? So over to you, ma'am. And then I think we will take, and let me also be just, for all our sakes, because we are running late on time. So I would also request all of you to kindly stick to 5 to 6 minutes so that we can also proceed for lunch. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll be getting all the breakbacks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sanyukta. And a very, very good morning, good afternoon to all of you. It's a pleasure being here today in this wonderful summit amongst all of you wonderful people. And the topic is extremely exciting. Since I'm Chief Commissioner Income Tax Postal Delhi right now, we are in the capital, seeing all the changes happen. As you know, we're on to this Viksit Bharat. Taxation is the foundation of the nation's. We're providing, for infrastructure, for social welfare, for everything. And she said, yes, the taxation base, I would say, was small, but it's increasing by leaps and bounds. We've had almost 9 crore returns as of last year. And so the AI coming in the digitization is really changing things for the department as well as for the taxpayer. Just because we have this short span of 5 minutes, I would just like to enumerate a few things which have changed. So I would say that this is like a silent revolution which has come in. It's more of an evolution actually. So just to tell you a few things, this is going to increase compliance. It is going to make the taxpayers feel that the department is a friend. It's a friend. It's not something which is out for your scrutiny. Earlier, there used to be a very large number of cases which were taken out for scrutiny, and notices used to come and people were listening. We are trying to actually reduce the numbers. You must have noticed. Returns have सबने notice की होंगी अब फटाफट process हो जाती है. Your refunds are coming in. We get very positive comments from you on Twitter, on other forums that the refunds are coming in within a few hours even. I can see people nodding their heads. So all this is being helped by digitization. AI we are beginning to use it in a big way. You know that we have a lot of data. We have so much data right now that we are actually trying to use it for many, many things. So just to give you a few examples. If there is someone who has a lot of FDs, he's earning interest, then the system realizes that it's non-filer or that this year he has not filed his return. So we are starting something called nudge campaigns. And these nudge campaigns are actually, we're calling it nudge because it's like a gentle reminder to you. You're not going to get a notice, you're going to get a message or you're going to get a mail saying, and sometimes it genuinely happens that you have forgotten. Some people in our own department say कि मैं भूल गया transfer पे कि मेरा वहाँ पे बैंक account था तो मुझे जाना है. There are many things which you may have forgotten. There is something very huge which our General Secretary pointed out recently. That's from April 23 to April 25 to June 25. Because of our nudge campaigns, which have been reminding people, there's been a withdrawal of the deduction claims amounting to 963 crores, which is really huge. It resulted in the tax of almost 400 crores extra tax coming in. So these nudge campaigns, because the system is tracking, आपके बहुत सारे चीजें एक 360-degree profile हम create कर रहे हैं of each taxpayer of various things which are happening not in a scary way, but it just puts your things together, the tax portals which you are addressing, there are so many things, aap kahan ja rahe hain, there are high value purchases, there are many things. So quietly and efficiently and diligently, the system is recording things just so that people who need to be scrutinized, only they are scrutinized. There is no, the honest taxpayer is not going to be bothered. Your returns are going to be pre-filled. We are looking into a future where you don't have to do that much labor for filing your returns. So the returns are going to be pre-filled. You're going to have genuine reminders coming in before you file the return, and that will kind of remind you that okay, this I need to do. So as I said, there were a lot of false deduction claims which were being claimed, and these are being withdrawn. There are many things happening across various sectors. I don't know, Sanyukta, how many minutes I have left. So I just want to tell you that this is like a silent, I would say it's like a silent assistant, and AI and technology, and it's really helping us in driving things forward. We need your cooperation, and I'm sure that the department will come across as a very sensitive friend who is not going to bother you unduly and will remain at the back and will always be there for you to help in a very good way. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolee. I think she brought out how the income tax department can act as a friend as well. So I love that part of the nudge phenomenon that you kind of mentioned. I think yes, this is one of the very interesting things that how technology and how AI is being integrated. Thank you so much. Over to the Adarsh now. Where are you, Adarsh? Yeah. Adarsh is one of the brilliant officers UP guy, and he has single-handedly kind of transformed the entire excise policy. He is Commissioner Excise in UP, and he will be able to tell you how the entire way of allotment has been completely revamped in a massive state like UP. UP is a game of scale, and he has successfully kind of turned the entire tables after quite a decade, I suppose. And so over to you, Adarsh, about how technology has played a game changer in the entire, the excise department. If you would like to kind of bring to life that, but yes, keep within the time limits as well.
Thank you for the magnanimous words. And before I begin, I think Goa is the best place to talk about what I deal. So excise is unique in a way, entire sort of governance setup, because I think not many people outside the government would know, but only those in the sector and the government would realize that excise is one of the few subjects which is entirely in the jurisdiction of the state. And that is the reason why we are cost something else in Maharashtra, something else in Goa, and something else in UP. So that is from that point of view, as a commoner, it is difficult to appreciate. But from the point of view of somebody in the state who is looking after this department, that's a huge advantage. The advantage is that you are able to sort of oblivious of all the other constraints. You can have your own policy for the entire state. So the first thing that I mentioned is the excise policy, which every state brings up almost every year. That sort of sets the framework for how the state is going to collect its taxes, how the state is going to impose its excise duties on the various distilleries and breweries and so on and so forth in the entire year. This year in Uttar Pradesh, we did an e-lottery for all our retail shops. The universe was around 29,000 to 30,000 shops. And this was done after a gap of almost 8 years. So the entire process of the lottery was online, right from the application to the lottery actually happening. It was quite amusing because I have had people coming up to me to tell me that it was quite a Herculean task to explain to them. This is not possible because it is a software which is run by ELCOT. So And the other thing that I think the relevance of AI would emerge is, this year we decided that we had standalone shops of foreign liquor and standalone shops of beer in UP. So around 6,000 shops of foreign liquor and 5,500 shops of beer in UP. We wanted to sort of increase our footprint without increasing the number of shops, because it's a politically sensitive sort of issue. The number of shops is generally, if you increase it, it is frowned upon. A number of states in our vicinity, including Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, they had merged the beer and foreign liquor shops some years back. So we had some data from these states that when this had happened, the revenue had actually increased. We decided to do it. In the process, we reduced the number of shops by almost 3,000. The decision was based on some amount of evidence that we collected from, as I said, the neighboring states, and some amount of heuristic thinking, some amount of extrapolation. But it was still a risk. 4 months down the line, I can safely say that it has been a success. Our revenues in the first quarter itself have increased by almost 2,500 crores. The reason why I am giving this example was we had a large amount of data. Every excise department in every state has a large amount of data right from the time can of beer is sold in a retail outlet, and beginning from where it is manufactured in a brewery. The entire supply chain is monitored, it is all the data is available. But there was no way in which I could assess that data or interpret that data. That is the need I felt, that you need to have an AI-driven sort of system or a framework in which I could have had some kind of reason and logical sort of extrapolation that would have helped me in taking this decision. This decision was made in the absence of such data. So we still have a very long way to go in that sense. One small example that I will again give, I will again like to buttress this point is, in every shop, for every shop in UP and I think in other states as well, we decide what is known as a minimum guaranteed quantity or minimum guaranteed revenue, because the state government safeguarding its revenue upfront. That in respect of how many bottle units of liquor you will sell, we need that much amount of revenue. There is one shop in the district of Jhansi, which was situated in geographically such a situation that it was it was surrounded on 3 sides of Madhya Pradesh. The revenue that we had fixed for that shop, in the first month itself, the shop clocked 385% revenue. The reason was again because it was surrounded on 3 sides by Madhya Pradesh, and that area in Madhya Pradesh had become a dry area. Now, in the recent decision was taken by the Madhya Pradesh government. Now, all these factors, I mean, if I was only able to sort of have a sort of setup in which that data can become meaningful to me, maybe from next year onwards or subsequent years, we can tweak our decisions to that extent in order to maximize revenue. So, and the last point I would like to make before ending my sort of thing here. Price elasticity and sensitivity is another major area in which AI can help the department, because it will help us in revenue optimization. I mean, we believe that if we increase revenues, increase the excise duties on liquor bottles, the revenues would increase. That is obviously not true, because there is a price elasticity that is involved. We tried to do an exercise this year in which we extrapolated that what would be the outcome in case we increase the revenues for different segments. We have right from the economy to the super premium segments, and a lot of counterintuitive interpretations came from the data that we had. And very sort of, I mean, we used an OpenAI software. We did not have any specialized software for that. And to some extent, we also implemented that in our policy this year. The results have been mixed. So the future for this sector, at least for my sector, I think it is extremely bright. We have a lot of areas in which we can utilize AI for revenue optimization, for enforcement. I mean, we can know in which areas, for example, the sales have gone down. There must be some reason for that happening. And also in terms of one example that I can quote is from the transport department. For example, there are certain roads in which the number of accidents are rising. If there is data sharing within the department, it is possible that there is perhaps a bigger town that is near it, which is causing our vehicle drivers to have a liquor and then leading to accidents. So that is there. And hopefully in times to come, we will implement some more.
So Adarsh has raised real ground scenarios right from the ground. So he's right in one point, particularly that we have massive data sets, I was telling you. That we have, the government actually has the largest data sets available across sectors. Now it is up to us as to how we kind of use the instrument of AI and AI related tools to make the maximum out of it. So I think this is one area, one particular area, because that this is where participants here from different companies, from business leaders, you will be able to understand the issue and then provide us the right kind of solution. So as I understand, AI particularly has largely it kind of touches our lives and governance in three major areas. First is definitely predictive analytics and for smarter decision making. So we have cases of AI using AI uses in agriculture, where particularly a lot of things are predicted. Crop yields are predicted, pest management is predicted, things like how much the climate will affect the crop yields. All these things are predicted. So I do hope, Adarsh, that at some point of time that the consumption of liquor also gets predicted, so that you'll be able to open more shops in areas and in seasons where the consumption will go higher. So maybe that would be a futuristic use of AI in the excise department. But yes, let's move on with, we have with us Pooja Kumari. Pooja is Commissioner in Labour Department in Government of Rajasthan, and as Government of Rajasthan, you will know, is again one of the very well-governed states. Pooja, you were dealing with the Labour Department. Apart from, what are the kind of spotlight cases that you have been using, particularly given the amount of data that you have about labour in your state repository, I would also like to ask you one particular thing. If you could also touch upon the larger scenario of the issue of the fact that we still are a country which suffers from a digital divide. So as far as reports go, 38% of households in India are digitally literate, and in which urban is 61% and rural is as low as 25%. And the labour, again, if we talk about labour, much of our labour is also in the unorganized sector. So how are you grappling with this fact of including technology in a country, in a state where digital literacy is not as high as we would aspire to be? And how is it that you are also kind of taking steps to improve digital literacy amongst your stakeholders? So over to you, and
yes, ma'am. You rightly said so that the department is dealing with labor's welfares, and these are not that digitally equipped as other persons. So, Government of Rajasthan is recently done an MOU with NIC to deal with this fact. They are renewing the portal in a way which would get more digital conversations with this like automated workflow, which will benefit to our laborers in a way that they can renew their registration by chatbots help. Similarly, Government of India also has constituted a task force which is studying the impact of AI and AI in future workforce, which will impact our gig workers and our unorganized workers. So this study will help us to in decision making. That is how could we prepare schemes for them. Also, Government of India also has launched a skill for AI preparedness. This is a program which is running in schools now, which is going on future workforce. So they would be AI prepared. They would be more AI friendly, and this is going on in all government schools in future. So we are trying to improve the facilities which our laborers are taking from digital portals. Similarly, there is also International Labour Organization also has collaborated with the Department of Skill and Employment to digitally empower the labor and to address the gig economy, which gig workers are also begin more than unorganized sector only. So they are future workforce of India, and the our purchasing pattern is changing through them. So they are a bigger part of our labor these days. So we are addressing them through our act and rules as well. But we are preparing a skill in the digital hub with the collaboration of International Labour Organization. So I'm thinking same in a same pattern that we are registering laborers on e-Shram portal, which is very labor friendly portal, and this doesn't require much of data, and we are facilitating them through our camps or NGOs as well, which is going to provide us a data which will help us for decision making and our analytics, that how are we going to address the gig workers as well.
Thank you, Pooja. I think she kind of raised the biggest issue that we in this entire sector we are facing, the issue of digital literacy, and the country where we are fast, adopting AI across all sectors of public service delivery. How do you tackle this larger issue? So it can't be just left to the civil society. It is basically the business sector, the tech sector also has to come up with that entire branch of ensuring that the digital literacy expands in the coming years. So I'm very interested to now hand over the mic to Dr. Karthikeyan. He is MD of ELCOT in Government of Tamil Nadu. Now ELCOT, as I rightly understand, yes, is basically the digital infrastructure repository which provides the entire infrastructure for the rest of the state and all departments. So now I'm sure you are dealing with all departments that are working in the tech front, are adopting, integrating technology in their areas, whether it's municipal government, it's transport, it's agriculture, it's industry, whatever. So since you are the actual, the hand holder of all these departments, so let me talk about data and ethics here. So trust, as we know, is very foundational, and citizens must also feel confident that their data is being used responsibly. It is not getting handed over to stakeholders or to actors who may be kind of misusing it. And this invites actually the discussion on data governance, on consent frameworks, on ethical AI design, on how to make AI more and more responsible. So what are the safeguards that you, and as the actual service provider, you have kept in place actually to make sure that the citizen data in the AI systems becomes, it is responsibly used, it is safeguarded, and how do you also balance innovation with privacy and ethics? So,
good afternoon, thank you, ma'am. As Madam said, we are going in a rapid forward momentum towards adoption of AI. there are three major gaps which we are still facing as a huge challenge. One is inclusion, then interest-related issues, and accessibility, as we all discussed, we have been discussing now. So I can quote some examples. Like Tamil Nadu, we saw a presentation today morning, Citizen 360, end-to-end coordination, etc. So in Tamil Nadu has added more dimension into that. So the child human is being tracked right from the pregnancy stage itself. We have a state picnic portal. Almost 99.5% of all pregnant mothers are registered in that. And all the mothers, the birth certificate is 100% based on picnic registration. So it is mandatory to have a picnic registration to have a birth certificate. So if somebody misses and then it happens at the hospital level. So next level we see already we have a program tracker where children at Anganwadi at their nutrition levels, their Anganwadi enrollment are tracked. And then we have education management information system where the entire child's education apart from their RBSK data that is there with the screening at the school levels are being tracked. And then we have come up with the University Management Information System, UMIS, where this education data is now migrated to the university management, and this children are tracked for their higher education attainment. Then we are also working on skill attainment, skill mapping of these children, so that it's still a work in progress, so that these children's skill can be mapped and made future ready. So this entire cycle from pre-birth till their job or their entrepreneurship cycle. It's a long cycle involving huge data sets, huge tracking of data sets. So there is one ethical question, like how much I can infringe into their privacy or how much I can go for predictive governance and all those things, where it's still a challenge which government is working with various players to bring it more responsive, more proactive, and not to infringe too much into somebody's privacy. So this year we have done a pilot based on the education management information system that we have mapped all college seats and the student availability district-wise. And we are giving a predictive this thing on what all the suitable colleges that are available for student admission across the state. So earlier we used to have been our states, India is one of the most diverse nations, and the diversity is there within the states also. Somebody from one corner of the state is not aware of a seat or a seat available in the other corner. So this mapping has been done in this year on a pilot basis for our admissions. And all these initiatives, as of now, our gross enrollment ratio is around 52%. Compared to 27% national average. So the state is aiming to reach 75% by another 2 to 3 years maximum gross enrollment ratio. And school dropouts, we want to make it till 12%. So in all these initiatives, we are closely tracking every child, every individual for their attainment. So how do I balance this data? That's why we have come up with something called as open data platform, where we are working with the industry and partners from startups and all nearly 25 startups are working with our teams to have ethical usage of data, and we will make public whatever the data that can be made public will be made public by Government of India, Government of Tamil Nadu, in an open platform where it will be available for all players in the market to access and develop data-driven solutions for government. For example, I have a grievance data of more than 7 years lying in my portal. So from across the state, every new kind corner in Tamil Nadu, it can be through mobile phone call, or it can be through a personal petition. It can be through cutting-edge level districts, or it can be with the Honorable Chief Minister and the Secretariat. Any grievance that is entered in a portal. Now, if I start mapping the grievances into a geography, I can find out where all I can see I indicate the grievance mapping, seasonality of grievances, when are they coming in. For example, if it's a simple road-related grievance, I can find out how effective are my road laying processes, so that I can make my processes better. So this is a simple use case where we can make a predictive governance and proactive governance to resolve grievances. Similarly, I spoke an example of education. Similarly, in health, we are working on areas where we are getting high incidence of certain cases. So we can proactively provide our telemedicine solutions, AI-based solutions. For example, cataract. So the government of Tamil Nadu, along with our market, has developed 𝐄𝐝𝐢𝐭𝐢𝐨𝐧. That is a mobile-based cataract detection tool. So an experienced eye can detect it with bare eye and a torch. For a small person in the village, there were village camps. For detection of cataract, I can just take a photograph of the eye with the mobile phone, and that will send the information, and that will be detected. Cataract will be detected based on a AI tool. So cataract is one of the most common preventive cause of blindness. So the life capability increases if I am getting operated for cataract on time. So these are some of the areas where we are working. There is challenge in terms of infringement into privacy. The Lakshman Rekha where we have to maintain to ensure the citizen data is to be preserved and how much we can infringe into privacy. But we cannot be hesitant and sitting on the fence whether to go this side or this side. We have to cross, but how much can we cross? Where should we stop and where should we get back? Is a challenge which we have to work together and find a solution. And we are working like all other state governments and all other institutions. We are working together with the market in that area.
Thank you, Karthik. This was coming from Tamil Nadu, obviously one of the most tech-savvy states. And moving on to the next tech-savvy state is Telangana. And from Telangana, we have Ramesh. Sorry, Ravi Kiran. He is Commissioner of the Electronic Service Delivery, MeeSeva, Department of IT. So I think you are at the crux of this entire, you actually symbolize the department for which this entire use of AI and technology is being used. So how do we actually, transform the entire landscape of service delivery for citizens? Because that's the mandate for which all of us are in this job that we are in. So over to you, but do make it brief and keep an eye on the time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the kind words. Yes, ma'am, as you mentioned, electronic services delivery is the core of this whole thing. And just to share a few points about Telangana and about MeeSeva. MeeSeva is the brand under which we operate. Very recently, we have touched 20 crore transactions since the inception. So that is something very remarkable with us. And more than 500 odd citizen services are online. You can think of almost everything which is possible for a citizen is online. Now, having said that, I'm sure all states have already reached that point where most of the services are online. What we need to, I believe, and quite a lot of states have started thinking and we have also started working on, is to give reach out towards a proactive step of reaching out to the citizens to give these services online. In the sense that, as rightly mentioned by you and so many others today, there is so much data available with the government. Like, for example, I have the total data of the agricultural land holdings of every citizen in the state. We have the land holdings of the registrations with us. We have how much electricity bill each citizen pays every month with us. We have how many vehicles every person has. We have so many other sets of data. So it's very, very easy for us to mark when a citizen requires a particular service and we reach out to them at that point even before they ask us. For example, like how Mr. Karthikeyan told about the birth certificate. The moment that is born, it is that when the citizen applies for a birth certificate. Instead of them coming and applying for it, we could proactively reach out. That is what we are doing at now. I would like to share a very interesting point here. In one of the presentations by ma'am, we saw that Estonia is a country where quite a lot of services are digital. We are having an MOU with Estonia, and in fact, a delegation of Estonia visited Telangana, where we were trying to learn from them, and they told that 99% of their citizen services are electronic, including voting. Voting is also online. And they told me shortly they will be becoming 100% online. So it was very curious for us to understand what is that missing 1% which they are not online, which is when they told they are planning to go for divorce also online. So until now that was the only thing which was not online for some reason. So now even divorce came online in slowly. So that is
that will lead to a fast state in that now.
So that is the limit of electronic services delivery and citizen services which they have now. I mean, not all parts we should adopt, but definitely with so much data which all the governments have, it is very, I would say, easy for us to understand and predict when any citizen would want which service. And just for the legalities, take the approval from the citizen and then apply the service on.
I have a curiosity question, Ravi. So, you were talking about services being made online, and at this point of time, all states have done this already. But what Telangana did 10 years ago, we do it now, right? Because of one factor which is common between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. We come to that. So, what are the innovations that you are, as a state like Telangana, is doing now? Because online is done, it's done everywhere. So, what are the innovations that are in the pipeline that you're thinking of, that you're doing? So, you would like to
Yes,
delve a little more?
yes, I would like to mention these things have already matured. So now, whatever I was mentioning about proactively reaching out to citizens was what we were thinking, and parallel what we did is we are launching all the citizen services through WhatsApp. Now, what is should I say more interesting point of confluence here is, ma'am, the moment you launch all these citizen services through WhatsApp, taking approval makes it even more easier.
Yes.
Because you need not call anybody or anything, you just send a WhatsApp message that you are due for this particular service, and you just take a consent from that citizen. You don't even need to ask the citizen to fill the application form because you have his entire history with you.
Yeah.
And you just take the consent, you apply the form on behalf of the citizen. The process which is happening in the background anyway will keep happening. And then the citizen's certificate is delivered on WhatsApp also, through a blockchain technology, so that there is no fraud or you don't need an actual physical certificate as well, because just that QR code which is backed by the blockchain enough would be enough for anybody to validate the same. So at this note, and I can see a red flag based on that.
That flag is for me actually, it's not for you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ravi. So if we speak of Telangana, how can Andhra Pradesh be behind? So right now we have with us Ramesh, who is Joint Commissioner of �WISAC Metropolitan Regional Development Authority, Government of Andhra Pradesh. And we would love to hear from you again in brief as to what are the new things that Andhra is doing. Because Andhra, whatever you are done, like 10 years ago or up to 5 years, we had already gone, studied the whole thing and tried to replicate it everywhere. So come up with the new things that are interesting for the rest of us to kind of hear about and also try to replicate in our states.
Thank you. We basically a planning body in collaboration with 𝐂𝐝𝐢𝐭, we are creating this economic group of master plan, right? Which the state of area is much there, especially with regard to the road networking and other infrastructure. Somewhat it is because whenever we see urban scenario, we see a lot of urban flooding these days. And road network is very, very important for a city to sustain these days. So that's where we are using this area. That's area along with AIs and road surveys and other digital twins, all these applications. So apart from this, what as Madam was asked is, just like Telangana, we have also done almost 700 services. We have made developed for WhatsApp-based service deliveries. Because we are in an advanced stage of MeeSeva, all this is over now. So now 700 services are almost delivered at the switch of a button with a common number. And as the Rolee was mentioning, our state, the pioneer state in that. So with this, I also would like to add one more thing, that is recently during the International Yoga Day, where 5 lakh people have participated along with the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Chief Minister Ravi, and 36 kilometers stretch. Because the massive exercise we have done with the help of this artificial intelligence regarding the logistics support and all that, for which we have gone out to Guinness Book of Records also. And as time is running up, I just would like to end with one thing, that is, I personally will not go to washroom also when I order something on Swiggy, Zomato, or because the moment it's ordered, the bell rings. So that is the speed at which things are delivered. So even the people are expecting government services to be delivered at that speed. So we have to be very, very careful that only AI can come to our rescue regarding government service delivery, because people are expecting that speed. And last but not the least, as electronic voting machines are being questioned now, it will also be questioned, it will also be put a lot of questioning. So with this, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you heard about, you got a picture about how AI is being integrated across sectors, across states, and obviously when you hear Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu and Telangana, you get to see the next gen AI, WhatsApp integration, what we were listening to it in the morning, we can see it in practice here. It will obviously be a delight to learn more from you so that we can between states also the collaboration can happen. But yes, there's been too much of government, and too much of government is never too good. So let's minimize the impact of government, and let's listen from our industry partners. Industry partners who are actually at the cutting edge of technology, who are innovating, who are bringing new forms of technology and upgrading our systems for better service delivery, for smart decision making. And with us now we have Mr. Lakshmi Narasimhan Vardhan, who's the account director of Salesforce. So Vardhanji, so you heard about what are the innovations that are happening, what are the practices that are coming, and more when you hear, you feel that AI, the integration of AI is still at its, at a very rudimentary stage. We are talking of predictive analytics, we are talking of AI chatbots, but how far are we? We are talking of Internet of Things and automation. But at the same time, what I would like to hear from you is how can Salesforce help governments to deliver more citizen friendly services? How could we bring in a larger category of citizens who are not just concentrated in the urban pockets, but are also in the rural areas? And also in terms of proactive outreach and support during natural calamities, what are the things that Salesforce can actually complement and supplement the initiatives of government which have been across the decades, but which are now getting more and more modernized, more and more are giving a scope for integrating of technology and AI. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, I think most of them spoke about the Citizen 360, proactive management of citizen engagement. I think everybody understands what is the basement required for government to act upon citizen engagement. So, when also talking about speed, testing engagement in a swift manner, so the behind platform is Salesforce actually. So Swiggy delivers 3.6 million food in a day. So that's power of Salesforce, right? Yeah. I would like to press upon once again is that see the Citizen 360 is the basement for any government to act upon, where practically we can understand where citizen requires help. So I think COVID-19 taught us about how the crisis management and how responses were delivered by government. So certain states implemented Salesforce for complete citizen management in terms of how citizens requirement shelters, medicines requirements can be delivered. So Salesforce had delivered those solutions during COVID-19. And when it comes to the cross-agency engagement in terms of during COVID-19, I think the same single platform engaged with NGOs and the first-line workers, where this patient cares and hospitals and the police manpowers were utilized for citizens to get delivered about the COVID-19 requirement. So when AI era is there, I think it serves hope about WhatsApp engagement. So WhatsApp as an engagement as a front-end face will not solve the actual problem. Actually, you need a robust platform in the backend which automates the case completely in a swift manner, so that no citizen doesn't get irritated about how my problem is getting solved in a day at least. So that's where the platform robustness and AI comes into picture for automating the complete citizen engagement. So this is what I have.
I have another thing because you the two of you, Manoj and you are the only ones who are representing the industry sector right now. So a query question would be, how do you ensure that the data, the backend data that you have from all the projects that you are doing, that remains secure? So what are the kind of AI regulatory frameworks that that the company Salesforce has adheres to ensure that there is no scope of misuse, there's no scope of breach of trust that the government's kind of entrust you with?
So my Karthikeyan indicated about the data security, where the borderline lies, where no government can use it in terms of health worker, or how the breach cannot happen. So whether banks or real estate or any industry apart from public sector or government implements, I think government segment have to implement the enterprise-wide security architecture. But forgetting that our friends up there, they would talk more about what is about the one more is multi-factor authentications.
Yeah.
So these are one of key criteria required for security data to be secured. And there are companies like ISO 27001. So these are some of the company certificate I think government should adopt so that the data can be secured. And it has to be continuously monitored about on the data breach or data security to be done at the every stage, and audits have to happen. So that's the recommendation.
That reminds me, all us government officers actually need to go through some kind of a course on data regulation and data security as well, because we are more and more adopting AI and AI tools in all our systems across states. So now, last but not the least, and very, very interested in listening to Fortinet, we already saw the presentation. We have with us Manoj Verma ji, who is head of the public sector Fortinet. Manoj ji, with cyber threats actually evolving very rapidly, and you see massive, we had multiple cases, in governments also facing, in UP there was something with the UP SRTC suddenly facing an entire breach. And I'm sure this is quite rampant in different parts, although these things don't come out very fast. So what is the role that Fortinet can play actually in helping governments, departments, build a more secure digital infrastructure? That's one thing I would like you to address on. And also public sector organizations often struggle to balance, the security bit and ease of access. So how is it that Fortinet will help achieve this balance in this entire journey of digital transformation towards a basic Bharat? Over to you, Manoj.
Gentlemen, and you have listened to all the government officials, bureaucrats who have been driving their various e-services across the states. So as I said by my friend Salesforce, right? So we have been talking about predictive governance, and predictive governance is only possible when you're actually having a centralized monitoring system, right? Then you talk about how to analyze these threats, right? So today, if you see across the states, right, that every department is actually either working in silos or the states has the state data center, but still department is also working in silos and not consolidating the things. So what Fortinet brings on the table is basically a verified scalable solution, which monitors, which delivers you a centralized management part of it. Right? We are giving you the complete analytics on your advanced threat side of it.
the protections which we are offering you in terms of the access management of the user, we are able to consolidate the entire applications which are running from your state data center side of it on a single dashboard for all the entire state bureaucracy. So every department, every official will be able to access their application on a central site. Now, if I give you example which you will be able to connect, right? So whether you talk about health, you talk about education, so every state has some bit of an automation, but every automation is running in silos. You have multiple applications in various hospitals running on a different platforms, but there is no connectivity. So tomorrow, if the state wants to really know how the stock and the medication is being done, what is the patients, what is the availability of specialization of the doctors, you actually have to struggle during the time of pandemic, right? And today, if this network is connected with each other with a consolidated network with centralized monitoring, the entire application can be hosted at a single location. So, one, the state would be able to save the cost also. Two, you will be having a single pane window for entire application of yours. And obviously, the application provider is providing the necessary database security set. Third, to access this data, only authorized people who would have access to access these applications would be able to access. So what it delivers you a complete zero trust network, which ensures that the user is able to access only those applications or those data for which he is authorized for. So that is one important that's ensured that gives you a complete security on that side. Third, our 40 gun tabs, they do a complete real-time analytics of the threats which is happening, which is being targeted for the country, and that is where we are been helping agencies like certain with the real-time data on the threat analytics side. And this because today we have a huge, large install base across the globe. So Fortinet becomes the biggest, actually a sensor which is delivering to the latest attacks, on a particular government, on a state, or a department. So if you see, until unless our governments do not focus in making a centralized network, so the targeting and these security challenges which our country is facing today would be very, very tough. You would have seen the media reports yesterday itself. So I think we are the topmost country which is being targeted by cyber attacks. So today, Fortinet delivers you almost 57 technologies where we are covering not only the perimeter side, but we cover the complete data center solutions. We give you a secure wide area network solutions. We are delivering you a complete secure campus network and building network solutions. And the important most, we are giving you a complete security operations centers, which takes care of your every need. We are able to connect all your branch and remote offices, which can be monitored centrally. You can modify policies from the single location itself for all across the offices. So that eases out your entire IT troubles because they will be able to do everything from the central location itself. So that's all.
Thank you, Manojji. And last words, I don't want to be standing between you and lunch. So a round of applause for all the illustrious panel that we have here today, and especially in the very brief way and a very articulate way, all of them have brought about how, in the best case scenario, what is the field experience of using big data, how AI and technology is being integrated, what are the opportunities that are there across all the states, what are the challenges we are facing, and also the biggest important point out here is that AI is writing the code for humanity in this century, and it is time that we have to kind of upgrade all our skills. We are all in the public service for more than 20 years, roughly around 20 years, and change happens every year. And change is the only constant that we are faced with. And this is how, this kind of collaboration, this kind of partnership that the team of Government Connect has brought about, bringing in tech partners who actually open our eyes, who tell us what is happening in the tech area. And this is what we also kind of need to consume. We need to to be, the government is the biggest upscaler even today. Whether you like it or not, government is the biggest upscaler. And that is where I think we as government, as policy makers, this is a pretty very interesting platform for all of us to learn as to how we can improve our governance. Minimum government, maximum governance is the motto of the day. And this is where the tech partners can help us and support us in this area. So massive learning experience. Thank you once again, and a big round of applause. Thank you.